Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, hello, welcome, I hope you stick around. Today, I'm starting a new sketchbook I just got. I wanted to play it safe, so I got the same one as my last one. It's a Canson mixed media 9 by 12 inches with 138-pound paper. I'm way more picky than I should be about my sketchbook paperweight. When I was looking for a new sketchbook, I was just running around the aisle checking all of the weights, and in my opinion, they were just too thin, especially like for mixed media. I know it's mixed media, it's supposed to be used with whatever. It's a nice medium, but I'm really tough on my paper. I use multiple layers of watercolor on it. I like to be able to not have it peel after just one layer or like it tears up or it warps really easy. I guess you could say I'm kind of a snob about my paperweight. I don't know. Anyway, I started out by painting the cover with some black acrylic paint. Originally, it was going to be purple, since that's my favorite color, but it just wasn't looking good with the white outlines of the stickers. It looks so weird to me, so I painted it with the trusty black again, like my last one, and so the cover is even more warped than normal, because it has like, I think 4 layers of paint on it. You know, trial and error, all that. And so then I got to sticking the stickers on there, which I spent about 30 minutes off camera deciding how I wanted it to look. It was really fun trying out all these different layouts, and then I took like 3 photos of my favorite ones, and then I finally narrowed it down. Then afterwards, I doodled like little random thought bubbles for the characters, what they might be saying in that particular moment. A few of them I had them saying some quotes, and then I just doodled like random stuff on there. It was really fun just getting to doodle around with it and figure out what I wanted it to look like. It kind of has almost like scrapbook's not the right word, but kind of like when people have those aesthetics and it's just like very doodly looking. Yeah, that's how I describe it. So, in my last sketchbook, when I started the last one, I did not put a ton of effort into the first page because when I started that one, I had another one going at the time and I was like, this is going to be my one for stuff that isn't school. I'll just doodle in it. And so this time, I really wanted the first page to be like kind of pretty looking. I've been watching a ton of YouTubers starting new sketchbooks, and they just had all these really cool ideas, which I wanted to try implementing in my own. I knew I wanted it to have some sort of opening text and there to be like a main character or maybe multiple characters. You'll see later what I decided based on how big the page is. On a side note, if you hear any weird background noises, that's just the fridge making its like humming noises. It's going through a thing where every few hours or so it starts making these weird humming noises, and it's right next to where I do all of my recording and editing. So, apologies for that. Anyway, back on topic of making the first page, I just watched, I think she posted the video like a few years ago, but it was the last Coffee Bean starting her sketchbook page. She did like the Spider-Man from Into the Spider-Verse theme, but she had these really cool graffiti letters, and I really liked how they looked, but I wanted a different font, because like I thought her font was cool, but I just wanted a different look for mine. And so I went on Pinterest and just, as she said she did, looked up graffiti fonts and found this really cool one on Pinterest. So if you want to try it out, just go to Pinterest, I guess, and search up graffiti fonts. So my original plan, I guess vision you could say, for this first page was I was going to have multiple characters on it. Maybe all saying a line or something. I was going to have maybe one from Doctor Who, one from Perot. I'm trying to think of what else. Probably multiple from each of those shows. But I ended up having the welcome text up there which says hello, and I was thinking I wasn't going to be able to do them all justice if I had to do them super small. So I decided I'd just do one big one, and it was really hard picking one. But I decided, since I've been watching a lot more Perot lately, I do Hastings from that. Just because he has so many good facial expressions, and he's really fun to draw. Like, I love drawing suits so much. It's so much fun getting to draw these different ties, and you have so many different suit cuts. It's kind of like a hobby in itself of just drawing suits. Like, it's actually kind of sad. So I started out. This is actually my first big drawing I've done of him. I did a small little sketch of him in my last sketchbook, and I was planning on doing more. And then, finals hit, and no one really has any time to sketch during finals. It's all go, go, go. So the only bigger doodle I've done is Inspector Jap, which is also from Perot, but I haven't done Captain Hastings yet. And it was really fun getting to do that. His nose, there's something about his nose that's difficult. I struggle with noses a lot. I feel like I kind of got it. I don't know, I just need to experiment more. I do think one thing I feel like I did well was I actually got his mouth pretty right from the scene. That makes me happy, because, most people seem to struggle either with mouths or noses, or let's not get into eyes. But anyway, I finished the pencil sketch, and then I went straight to the inking, which is really fun to do. I enjoy inking because it's less of worrying about getting all the proportions right, and you just have to follow your lines and get your line weight, and there's something really satisfying about it. It's like getting to line a coloring page. It's basically making the coloring page before you color it, I guess. Well, let me know. Do you prefer drawing or do you prefer inking? If you do ink. I know some people just sketch, which I like doing that too, but when I'm doing watercolor like this, I do ink my lines beforehand, just because I think it looks nicer. Getting back to the idea of the first page, there's a lot of fear that comes with it, and with starting a new sketchbook, because you have a perfectly untarnished piece of blank paper that you're about to start in a perfectly untarnished sketchbook, and it's all just so neat and lovely, and you have the new nice clean white pages, and you have to put marks on that, and you want it to look good, and it causes a lot of anxiety for some people. I don't think it causes as much for me. I definitely feel it with my watercolor one. I felt a lot of that because it had like this really pretty cover, and the paper's so nice, and it was a pretty good chunk of money. But this one, what I do at least to help myself is buy a cheap sketchbook, and then I just paint the cover and put stickers on it. Because, it's pretty good quality. It's decent quality in my opinion. But then I feel like, oh, you can't really hurt it. It's just a cheap sketchbook. Everything will be fine. But that just might be my opinion. Leave it in the comments if you have any tips on negating that fear of starting a new page. I finally finished the ink lines, and now it's time to get into the watercolor. I am by no means an expert in watercolor. I just recently got into it, doing it in my sketchbook like this because it's fun and an easy way to put down color. On a side note, not related to watercolor, I put tape on the paper to protect it when I was painting the cover with acrylic paint, right? And unfortunately, the tape was a little too hard on the paper because I didn't use washi tape, I used masking tape, and I didn't actually know that masking tape rips the paper, but when I pulled it off now, there's like this rough look to it, which I can't unsee. It's like just staring at me, taunting me. But it's fine, it just gives it character, I guess. That's what my parents would say. Back to the watercolor, I have been experimenting with adding like different colors to it. I've always been doing that. I was influenced by a lot of watercolor like YouTube artists who add lots of different colors to their watercolor, and I just try and, in my way of learning, I would just try to sort of mimic at first what they did, and now I'm sort of feeling like I'm starting to do it myself and see the colors there. I felt like I saw it in the suit. I feel like the suit was the easiest in my opinion. Then again, it's also not. The human face is just a piece of clothing, so it's a lot easier. But it was really fun, like adding the green to it. Just because I think green and gray look so pretty together. It just works so well. I think my mistake in the beginning, I was using too small of a brush. I think I should have started out with a bigger brush. For the tie, you definitely needed a smaller brush, but I think using a bigger brush might have encouraged me to be a little more loose, rather than go in a little too tight. Like, that's what I love about watercolor, and it's also the thing I hate about watercolor. You can't really control it, and I like to control things, but I also like it to look uncontrolled. So it's a love-hate relationship. I do love painting hair, though. I think it's really fun trying to get highlights on it and have it have other colors in it. I think it's some blue to the hair. Do I add blue? Yeah, I add blue to the hair later on, which really makes it kind of get that silvery look. When I started doing watercolor, I wanted to do human faces with them because I think a lot of people like to paint human faces. I mean, we like to paint people we know, characters we know, all sorts of things. We just think it's cool because I guess we relate to them the most. Seeing another human relates to it. But I couldn't get the hang of painting people with watercolor. I did about 3 and stopped because I was like, well, you look hideous. I'm sorry for creating you. And then I actually learned, about light and shadow and more about how facial features work and what colors go where. And now I feel like we're not looking as hideous. We still have a long way to go, but you're looking like a human being and not a gremlin. So it's been enjoyable getting to figure out how to work the watercolors and not make it too dark. Sometimes I feel like I go a little too dark. The purple on the side, I probably should have lightened up. His face was not in that much shadow, but I don't know what I was thinking. It all works out in the end, thankfully. It balances out. The watercolor portion of him took about 30 minutes, give or take. Most of it was, well, not most of it, but some of it was spent waiting for the layers of paint to dry because I don't like things bleeding into each other. There is nothing worse than having black bleed into yellow and you'd get that green color. So, yeah, you gotta make sure you let things dry. Then I pulled in some colored pencils and gave him a few embellishments and then a white gel pen. I love those white gel pens. They are so much fun for adding those little highlights. And then, yeah, the first page was finished. All that was left was to transfer a few pages that I have ripped out in my sketchbook, like my color chart. I last year made a whole color chart of my acrylic paints and how they mix together, and it is a game changer. I've done greens. I'm going to do purples and oranges this summer while I'm on break and just try and figure out what colors make what colors with different brands of paint, different colors of paint. Yeah, it's just so helpful. But then I made a little pouch that I store all of my in-progress watercolor or gouache paintings. That's just real easy. I take some sketchbook paper and I tape it in the back. And then I just put in my color chart and voila, it was done. If you made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you and I hope you all have a great day. See you again soon.